David anointed king of Judah. So 2 Samuel, chapter 2. After this, David asked the Lord, should I move back to one of the towns of Judah? Yes, the Lord replied. Then David asked, which town should I go for? To Hebron. The Lord answers. David's two wives were Anohem from Jezreel and Abigail, the widow of Nabal from Carmel. So David and his wives and his men and their families all moved to Judah, and they settled in the villages near Hebron. Then the men of Judah came to David and anointed him king over the people of Judah. When David heard that the men of Jabesh Gilead had buried Saul, he sent them this message: May the Lord bless you for being so loyal to your master Saul and giving him a decent burial. May the Lord be loyal to you in return and reward you with his unfailing love. And I too will reward you for what you have done. Now that Saul is dead, I ask you to be my strong and loyal subjects, like the people of Judah, who have anointed me as their king, who have anointed me as their new king. Ibosh had proclaimed king of Israel, but Abner, son of Ner, the commander of Saul's army, had already gone to Mahanaim with Saul's son Ibosheth. There he proclaimed Ibosheth king over Gilead, Jezreel, Ephraim, Benjamin, and the land of the Ashurites, and all the rest of Israel. Ibosheth, Saul's son, was 40 years old when he became king, and he ruled from Mahanaim for 2 years. Meanwhile, the people of Judah remained loyal to David. David made Hebron his capital, and he ruled as king of Judah for 7.5 years. While between Israel and Judah, one day Abner led Ibosheth's troops from Mahanaim to Gibeon. About the same time, Joab, son of Joriah, led David's troop out and met them at the pool of Gibeon. The two groups sat down there, facing each other from opposite sides of the pool. Then Abner suggested to Joab, let's have a few of our warriors fight hand to hand here in front of us. All right, Joab agreed. So 12 men were chosen to fight from each side, 12 men of Benjamin representing Ibosheth, son of Saul, and 12 men representing David. Each one grabbed his opponent by the hair and thrust his sword into the other side so that all of them died. So this place at Gibeon has been known ever since as the Field of Swords. The fierce battle followed that day, and Abner and the men of Israel were defeated by the forces of David. The death of Asahel, Joab, Abishai, and Asahel, the three sons of Joriah, were among David's forces that day. Asahel could run like a gazelle, and he began chasing Abner. He pursued him relentlessly, not stopping for anything. When Abner looked back and saw him coming, he called out, Is that you, Asahel? Yes, it is, he replied. Go fight someone else. Abner won. Take one of the younger men and strip him of his weapons. But Asahel kept right on chasing Abner. Again, Abner shouted to him, Get away from here. I don't want to kill you. How could I ever face your brother Joab again? But Asahel refused to turn back. So Abner thrust the butt end of his spear through Asahel's stomach, and the spear came through his back. He stumbled to the ground and died there, and everyone who came by that spot stopped and stood still there. They saw Asahel lying there. When Joab and Abishai found out what had happened, they set out after Abner. The sun was just going down as they arrived at the hill of Amlah near Giah, along the road of the wilderness of Gibeon. Abner's troop from the tribe of Benjamin regrouped there at the top of the hill to take a stand. Abner shouted down to Joab, Must we always be killing each other? Don't you realize that bitterness is the only result? When will you call off your men from chasing their Israelite brothers? chasing the Israelite brothers. Then Job said, God only knows what would have happened if you hadn't spoken, for we would have chased you all night if necessary. So Joab blew the ram's horn, and his men started chasing the troops of Israel. All that night Abner and his men retreated through the Jordan Valley. They crossed the Jordan River, they crossed the Jordan River, traveling through all the morning, and didn't stop until they arrived at Mahanaim. Meanwhile, Joab and his men also returned home. When Joab counted his casualties, he discovered that only 19 men were missing in addition to Asher. But 360 of Abner's men had been killed, all from the tribe of Benjamin. Joab and his men took Asher's body to Bethlehem and buried him there in his father's tomb. Then they traveled all night and reached Hebron at daybreak. This is the word of God.